Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to episode number 24 of Playing with House Money on the Toilets to Titles Network. I am Iceman at Iceman_1013, and this is my co-host DJ Pru at PruBaby10. How are you doing today, my guy?
I'm doing great, man. Doing great. Happy to be back in the land where I can gamble. So,
yeah, it was a tough weekend for you, I know.
You know, it actually wasn't as bad. I needed it. I definitely needed the break, but one, go Knowles. Amazing atmosphere. I felt like I was at home. So I mean, I was having a great time. So I mean, it was good not being on my phone the whole time and staring at lines and sweating out plays. But yeah, I definitely did miss it. I'm ready to take a big week and get back at it. So yeah, I'm happy to be here.
Good stuff, man. Good stuff. Yeah, it was a strange weekend. It was a good weekend nonetheless. I know like a couple of the bets that we'd put out last week, we were both, again, I think 3 out of 4 on both Sunday. Went 3 out of 4 on our Sunday slate plays again.
2 out of 3 on the college football.
Yep. So a lot of winners last week. I know in the Discord, I know you missed them, but we cashed a couple. Mm-hmm. Certainly on the soccer side, the SGC is on international break again this week, but last weekend we did what we do and we cashed Bundesliga. But yeah, there was some nice lines that we hit, some decent stuff. This week, some college, some basketball.
Yeah.
Little bits and pieces here and there to keep us going, and yeah, back at it this weekend.
Yeah, way to stay humble, because I know my buddy texted me the other day, and he's like, "Man, I had a huge weekend," and I'm like, "Did you tail Ice on Saturday?" And he's like, "Yeah, that kicked it off," and I'm like, "Yeah, hell yeah, it did," because I saw. Obviously, I'm keeping up with the Discord, as I'm out there and whatnot, and I'm, a little bit of FOMO. Don't get me wrong, a little bit of FOMO, but I expected it. It wouldn't be the first time that I've missed out on some things. I'd be asleep on Saturday mornings every once in a while, so it didn't shock me at all. But yeah, we had good winners even from the show.
Yep.
The Bundesliga is almost, I don't even know if I want to say this because I don't want to jinx you or anything like that, but it's almost like you guys go hand in hand with with what you're feeling, what you're playing, and then how what ends up coming about. But on the show we had some good ones. We had Louisville ended up killing my college football sweep, and it was funny because I was at the bar playing pool with my pops as I'm watching it, and I'm like, dude, what is going on? Like, this is nuts. So I didn't think Saturday was going to follow up as well as it did. And then I remembered that the lines gave us Michigan 2.5 touchdowns, and I think it was like 26.5 team total. I'm like, dude, this is a cakewalk. So both of those hit. The 2.5 touchdowns hit. The team total hit. Colorado, like I said, the 2.5 touchdowns for them it seemed low to me. Only because I know that they've been struggling. They've been losing games, but like their offense has always been able to put up points with the best of them.
Yeah.
So that one was actually pretty, it wasn't as easy as I thought it was, like at the end of it, but they got 2 quick ones and then they were able to finish. And then, yeah, like you said, we both went 3 for 4. Obviously that Cleveland-Baltimore game went way higher scoring than anybody would have thought with those 2 defenses. 38.5 that was a literal cakewalk. That one couldn't have gotten any easier. And then, yeah, Detroit -3 with a push, but I'll take a push, in a parlay any day. And then Washington +6. We ended up having a great Sunday slate, great Thursday night slate too. I think we only missed the Chuba receptions. I think that might have been the only one that we missed on Thursday too, besides maybe a touchdown or something like that. But you can never really bet on those and really have full confidence.
It was the Donta Foreman mini revenge game that everyone kind of skipped, right? We said about that, and he got the TD, which was great value. Again, we pointed that out.
Like,
yeah, Sunday. I don't want to talk about the fact that like the Bengals.
they've done it a few times this year where it's like, they play down their competition.
Yeah. But they got down inside not even just the red zone. They were at like the 2-yard line. Like,
yeah,
3 or 4 times.
Yeah, they couldn't
And
finish the penalties too.
the annoying thing was like the Minnesota Vikings money line plus whatever I said it was. I posted it at halftime, and then they just didn't show up for the third quarter, and I was like, oh great, this is going to make me look like a fucking idiot because they're going to lose. But that was pretty straightforward. The good part was that Tampa Bay line we got at 19.5, and on Sunday morning it had gone up to 20.5, and they got 20 bang on the nose.
Yeah.
But when I looked at DraftKings line for the Bengals was 2.5. I took the 3.5 on FanDuel. Obviously, it would have been much lower odds, but it would have cashed if I'd have played it on DraftKings. And that is why we say to shop around, find the value. Would I have taken? I would have still, like, I was a little bit distraught about it at first when I first thought about it, but in reality, given the two choices, I'd have taken the over 3.5 at the big plus money.
Mm-hmm.
Going with the over 3.5 Dallas touchdowns, which I mean they scored in the first quarter, right? Like,
yeah,
which was obvious given that I was playing in basically every league I was in against freaking Justin Herbert and Dak Prescott and CD Lamb. So like that just killed. Like, and I watched the game. I was like, brilliant. Like this is just like after the first quarter, I was like, this is just horrible for me in every way.
But, shout out to Dak. He got me a win in my league. Yeah, they're playing unreal. I think it's more so just like smoke and mirrors in my eyes, only because I've been watching Dallas do this for so long. But yeah, I mean it's one of those things, like especially with Cincy, man. They're a hard team to call because they're one of those teams like they'll play down to that competition really quick. It's almost like Buffalo. And yeah, that's another one. Buffalo is just absolutely killing people this season. But yeah, Tampa Bay defense absolutely wrecked me because Will Levis just could not do anything for Tennessee. They ended up with 6 points. Not how I envisioned that game going, obviously, with the money line. But yeah, I'll take 3 out of 4 at any day of the week. 75% is a huge win, especially in gambling. Absolutely. So but yeah, man, I mean, I think it was the last few weeks, I think we've been able to be a lot more decisive. I think we kind of gotten through those first 8 weeks of like, these are the teams that should be good and this is what they should do. And now it's like, let's reel it back in a little bit and kind of go for certain props that we at least have a lot more of a shot for. So yeah, I'm happy especially with what we're looking at this weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you want to get involved with our kind of game day chats, you can join the Toilets to Titles team on Gilded. If you want to see any of our other plays for the NBA, for the soccer stuff, like I mentioned, like jump into the Discord. We're halfway through the month. You still get this first month for free. Use code November. Find the links on @PW_house money. Join us in there. Like I say, we're putting out bets on basically every sport that is on right now. And again, like if you just want to interact with us, ask us some questions and comment, like, subscribe, put some ratings in there, ask us the questions, find us on Twitter. They're right there. Find us on the Twitter and we will hit you back. And Pru loves you love interacting with the people. I'm sure this weekend all of the plays will be out there. There'll be some free plays. I'm sure you missed it last week, so there'll definitely be a couple for the people. And I know there'll be a couple of I'll put a couple on the TikTok. I don't like betting international football. That's why we take the week off. But I also Saturday morning when there's nothing else to do, waiting for
sleep. I mean, you could always try to sleep. But yeah, I do have to. I owe the people a little bit of a comeback, coming out party just for my small hiatus. Yeah. So I'll definitely have some free plays on there, and I love interacting with people. I think sometimes I get a little, carried away with how much I do it, but it's always fun, man. It's definitely what brings people a little bit more comfort coming to rock with us when they notice it's not just like, hey, give us your $10, even though it is free this month. And take my plays for what they are and stuff like that. I talk about certain plays and what certain people are looking at. And a lot of the times it's just jokes and, messing around, shooting the shit. But yeah, we love interacting with the people, especially on the Twitter. So definitely come see us. I might even do a free play for like each sport. That's what I was kind of pondering this weekend or this early this week, and we'll go from there. But college football, we got some good value right out of the gates. We got a game Friday night, and it is Colorado, Washington State. I know I probably don't need to bring up Colorado too often, but as everybody knows, I'm literally going through the lines, and I'm looking for the easiest type of setup that they'll give us, especially earlier in the week. And Colorado is one of those teams where like the bookies are just not rocking with them at all right now. I don't know if I don't know if they've just lost complete faith in that offense, or they're trying to shame Dion, or if they're just trying to give us free money. But they're facing Washington State this week, Friday night, and unless there's something I don't know about Washington State about to happen this Friday, like if they just have a bunch of guys coming back or what's going on, that's obviously me being sarcastic. They have Colorado's touchdown line at 3.5. We've seen Colorado put up 28 plus points on way better teams than Washington State. And don't get me wrong, they're playing solid. They're playing very sound football, but like in college football, it's very easy to just start hiking the score up for both teams, especially against that Colorado defense. I think Colorado's going to be passing a lot, as they always are. And I think 3.5 touchdowns against Washington State is pretty generous. Obviously, I don't expect them to put up 60, but 28 points of just touchdowns, I'll take that all day. You can even ponder the 27.5 line. It isn't great. When I looked at it, it was minus 190. I want to say it was minus 200. But I mean, if you don't want the touchdowns, it is a little bit safer. I just don't see, like I said, I don't like taking field goals in college for the most part, only because one, they don't take as many, even though, some teams do take the points when they're there, but it's just not really my steez. So yeah, over 3.5 touchdowns is I'm all over that. That's at minus 110. And then we got a good matchup, a pretty good matchup. I don't think anybody's talking about Arizona's turnaround. That coach is obviously just doing an amazing job with that team. I think they won 6 games in the last 2 years prior to this year, and they have 7 wins right now, 8 wins right now. And they're obviously playing with the best of them. I mean, they gave USC a dogfight. They had another good showing last week. They're just very, very good. I think a lot of people are kind of underestimating them a little bit, especially the bookies. They have Utah and Arizona's points line at 44.5 on ESPN. On DraftKings, I think it was 45.5. I like either. I just don't see that game not being high scoring, especially not 24-21. It's Utah's obviously hung with the best of them all year. They're still ranked. They've been ranked all season, and Arizona's now in that top 25. So 44.5 just seems like way too low for me to not take. And then they have Arizona's touchdown line at 2.5. And that blew my mind, to be honest with you. I've seen them do many, many games where it's like they're in the 30s, and they're facing teams that people really didn't even expect them to beat. So I love that. That's definitely a game that I'll probably mess with that a lot on Saturday. Only because if I'm getting value like that right now, I know it's going to be valuable up until game time. So I'm definitely rocking with that game for sure for the value. And then Georgia facing Tennessee. If anybody's following college football right now, Tennessee is struggling mightily. Like Joe Milton, his draft stock from where it was in the beginning of the season to now, he's almost completely destroyed his original draft stock. The kid has an absolute rocket of an arm. Don't get me wrong, but his decision making and his turnovers are just absolutely horrendous. They cannot get a drive going. They're not going to be able to run the ball on Georgia. I think their running back line's only at like 52.5. And I do love that. Don't get me wrong, against any team, but I don't see Georgia really giving up too much slack in that game, especially with it being an SEC game. We're getting down to the nitty gritty. We got 3 weeks left in the regular season. So they're going to be balls to the wall on these wins, and they got to make them they got to make statements on these wins. And Brock Bowers is back as of right now. He's projected to be back. So with that game, I'm going to I like Georgia over 31.5 for the value. It's minus 195. I know that's not, eye-opening value. But as far as a team that I fully expect to walk through that, I do love that minus 195 with the other touchdown legs. And then I like Connor Beck for 285 passing yards. He's playing really well away, for one thing. And then two, I expect him to have the ball plenty. The one thing I will say is that the blowout does kind of worry you, but at the same time, it's college football. Teams are never really shy about hiking up the score. I do like that. And then, depending on what I read about Bowers, probably Friday, I'll probably look into it Friday to see how well he is going to be back, if he's on a pitch count. I think if he is 100% healthy or even 90% healthy, I think they try to really get him back into a rhythm, really try to get him a big game to get, his feet back wet. And his line's only at 54.5 on DraftKings right now. And if anybody that knows Brock Bowers, 54.5 could be done in a quarter. I really like that 54.5 and maybe even a touchdown. So yeah, I think there's just a ton of value in that game. I think that matchup is going to be lopsided. I don't see Tennessee hanging with them at all. So college football is going to have, now that we're down to the last few weeks, we're going to have a lot of value in some of these matchups that they think these teams are going to give a lot better games than what I would assume they are.
Sounds good, bro. Looking forward to seeing that hit. And,
hopefully it's you.
And you said that's Friday night, and then through
Friday is Colorado, Washington State. The other two are Saturday. I think Georgia and Tennessee are at 2:30, and Utah, Arizona, I believe, is 11 a.m. I think it's on the early wave.
Yep. So yeah, lovely. I don't like, me, I don't like waiting until the 6:30
right
games to get them out of the way early.
Yeah, and that's the thing is with college, I like to do like one at each wave because the way that they line up the time slots, it really does end at 2:30. So it's kind of like you're going right into the next one. I just don't want to get my heart broken by one of them at the same time and then not advance. But with the college, I've been really trying to pick the matchups more so than anything. And I really expected Louisville to have that sweep last week. I really liked that one. But yeah, I like where we're at every week with these college footballs, especially the touchdown totals. So you'll have to wait until the 2:30 wave's over. But I think waiting on Georgia at 2:30 is going to be a lot different than waiting on, somebody random. I love those spots though.
No, for sure. And I will join in the ones I can. I can't bet half of these props in New York State. So I will stick to the team totals and the over-unders, but as close as I can.
I'll remember that for you, and then Saturday morning I'll get you a kind of a morphed version of what those touchdown totals are bringing. So don't even worry about it, boss. I got you.
And then you've got the hoodie on.
Yes, sir.
You've got the
my AFC Ravens. Fandom. That's my AFC fandom. My age. I don't want to age myself, but when I started watching football, that was the defense to watch, and that was the team to beat. So I've always been a big fan of Baltimore. Their defense. I've always just been a defensive-minded football fan. So Ed Reed is one of my all-time favorite players. I think he's the greatest safety of all time. So I figured I'd bust the hoodie out, especially for a divisional matchup on a Thursday night football game that we finally get a matchup worth watching. So this one should be exciting. I think
I really hope we don't jinx it. But
Me too.
It's definitely got the potential, right, to be the best Thursday night football game we've probably seen all season.
Yeah, except for maybe week 1.
Yeah.
Other than that, we don't get many good ones. Now that it's the end of the season, you'll get one or two. But this is definitely one of those that's going to be big, especially because it's a divisional game. And both of these teams, Cincy really needs this game. I'm pretty sure them in Pittsburgh are neck and neck.
Yeah.
And then obviously Baltimore's playing unreal on defense. And then Lamar is
Yep.
he's just doing what he has to do to win games at this point. But their fourth quarter struggles are definitely, they make you weary. But I think this is going to be one of those dogfights like you always get, especially between these two teams. And they get scrappy, man. They get scrappy. And I'm gonna let you kick this one off because your prop was I like it. And I do hope it hits, only because it's gonna be hilarious if that is the case, because he is due. I mean, it's shit. Like,
well, I mean, he scored week 7. He scored 2 touchdowns this season. He scored week 2 and week 7, and I'm pretty sure that I've taken him and called it out most other weeks. And I definitely, it might have even been, I don't know which week it was. If he scored,
I don't want to say it. It's the one where he dropped it right through his hands.
Yeah, and at week 2 was the game at Cincinnati. Yeah. So he's already scored against the Bengals, but it's Nelson Aguilar, anytime touchdown, plus 550,
plus 600 on DraftKings.
Oh, plus 600 on DraftKings. That's where we're going. Yeah, I mean, I'm just taking. I'm not messing around trying to add anything else to it.
Right.
You know, add a couple of. No, not for the plus 600. I'm just going to take that straight. Might sprinkle on him first touchdown.
Yeah.
Just obviously, play that way. But yeah, I mean, he is due. He's scored against them already this season. I mean,
yeah, when Jesse
5 catches in that first game against the Bengals, so I feel like he's gonna have to throw the ball, right? Like in this, when it gets down
and ever since Jesse Bates left, Cincy, they have struggled against the slot. Both of these teams actually do struggle against the slot, I will say. He'll have his shots. He'll definitely have his shots. Yeah. They're going to be in the box. They're going to stack 7 in the box probably all game. And then with that slot, especially with his speed, he should be able to get it, 1 or 2 over the top. It's just going to be whether or not, they take advantage of the shots. But I do like it, especially at that value. I cannot say no to that at all. And I stuck with another slot receiver who just had a huge game last week for Cincy, and it's Tyler Boyd. He has been so consistent for Joe Burrow that it's almost every single year, like the last 3 years, we have tried to write him off. Like fantasy-wise, gambling-wise, you almost think he's just going to kind of, fade off into the sunset. And Joe Burrow is just like, no, Tyler's my guy. He's getting the ball. 120 yards last week. It's like Novocaine, man. He's going to get the ball. It's just, win. And I think against Baltimore, he's going to have a perfect setup, especially they're going to be focused on Jamar Chase, just like as they should. But I think he has plenty of opportunity, and they have his receiving line at 44.5 on DraftKings. That makes absolutely no sense to me, to be honest with you. I know obviously sometimes he does have those games where it's like 2 catches for 30 yards, but he hasn't had that in a few weeks. And when he does, it's against a very good safety or nickel, guarding him in the slot. And I don't see Baltimore really being able to run with him the whole game. His reception line is 4.5 at plus money. I might mess with it, but for these props that we give out, I want the best opportunity for us to cash something. So 44.5, I love that. And then the Keaton Mitchell train, man, I am fully on board. That dude is fast. Like that guy is like, I just don't want anybody to miss him like we missed, like people missed Devon Achane. And the books really still have not given him, too much cushion. Obviously he is sharing a lot of volume, but Baltimore is so run heavy, and they swap out these running backs, like I swap out shoes. So his rushing and receiving, it's at 46.5. I still don't understand it. They don't offer it to you in the SGP area for DraftKings, so I am going to run it on. I'm probably going to wait until closer to game time to run it, because I know that they'll throw them on there then, and it shouldn't fluctuate too much. But even if I don't get it, his rushing line is at 34.5. I like both, but yeah, I'm all on board with this kid, man. I think he's just due to take over that backfield as much as possible. I don't think he'll ever be that running back 1 for them because he is a little undersized, but he's going to get the ball plenty. And then with him next to Lamar, two electric players like that, I think it's a given that he's going to be, more volume heavy a lot going forward. So I love those. And I did with that Nelson Aguilar touchdown, those three at plus 2,100. I love that. Obviously it's, you want to run one without the Aguilar touchdown. It's still plus 252. I think that's amazing value for just those two props, with Boyd over receiving and then him with the rushing, with Mitchell at the rushing receiving at 252. Man, I'm all over that.
Yeah, and like I say, like it does, like it's all shaping up for him. I mean, it's two games in a row with a rushing touchdown now, so looking for the hat trick. I think he's definitely going to get the ball, and he's yards per carry, like on he's only had 12 carries in these.
I was going to say it's limited volume and he's scoring, so it's almost like he's forcing his way, through the door.
He's forcing. And I mean, Gus Edwards has kind of, must have thought when beginning of the season again, he's kind of maybe second or third on the depth chart going through preseason, and then JK gets injured again, and he's like, okay, well, here's my chart. Like, busts through, like scores the touchdown in week 1. Like, he's been on an absolute tear himself. Like, but this is the Ravens themselves have just really taken it up a notch in the last month or so. But I mean, he had the 3 touchdown game against Arizona, but then followed that up with 2 against the Seahawks. Either side of that, he's got a touchdown in each. So he's scored 7 touchdowns in his last 4. Yeah, he's going to get those. But like you say, Keaton Mitchell is, he's going to get the ball at the 20-yard line, and he's going for 12, 13 yards per carry, in the last 2 games. So, I mean, just again, like the value on just his lines, like you're not even looking for the touchdown from him. I'm just saying, like, that's, you just want the yard.
Because if he gets tackled at the 2, I'm going to be sick.
Yeah.
And then you got to worry about the Lamar rushing touchdown at the goal line. And it's like, then you got Gus with the power back, and Justice Hill is he's kind of worked himself out with the least amount of explosive plays as possible. But there's just too many moving parts. But at that line, man, he could really hit that. I mean, that's 2 plays, dude. That's 1 play for somebody with his speed. Yeah. So I really do love that line. And I think, him only having 12 carries, I think that definitely changes against Cincinnati.
Yeah, for sure. And while you're talking about like those low lines, I was just looking at Aguilar's receiving. They've got his receiving line at 8.5.
I was going to say it's probably like 10 yards. I love that.
So
that's
because it's 1 catch, right? Like,
that's a straight bet for sure. Is that minus 110?
I think so.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you shouldn't have told me that. I ain't gonna lie.
Minus 115 for 9 yards. Yeah.
I'm putting a mortgage on that.
And then he's got 25 plus is plus 310.
Yeah, I'm putting a mortgage on that over 9 yards. I ain't gonna lie to you. Don't do what I'm doing, people. Gamble responsibly. I will not. That's 1 catch, bro.
Yeah.
My problem with him is even when it hits his hands, I need to see it.
Yeah.
I need to see it all the way through. But it's 1 catch, dude. You can't pass that up.
No. And we're just gonna move straight on with that's Thursday night. Hopefully they give us the game that we are expecting, that I think the world wants to see for a Thursday night game. But we've got, like, I looked at this. There seems to be a lot of heavy favorites this week. Because I went through it this afternoon when I was doing some prep, and I was like, okay, well, let me see what it is for these 5 teams on the money line, and it was like plus 130 for 5 teams money line. I was like, okay, let's find something a little bit gives us some value, not taking the But it is, and that's what it is about, right? It's about finding that value, and I say that all the time on the SGC. These people just take the minus 850s and whatnot, and just assume that because that's the line that team's going to win. But hey, we've seen plenty of underdogs win games, not just this Sunday just gone, but this entire season and throughout every sport, you can't, just because the Cowboys are, minus 560, Dolphins minus 800, Commanders minus 430, Lions minus 430. Like, what I mean? Like, this is just a lot of, and you could easily, like I say, put all those together, but you've got 5 games then at plus 100. There's actually better value if you find the value in these teams. Like, you can get, like I did last week, pick number 1. I'm just going straight back to the Dallas Cowboys playing against Carolina this week, but just their over 3.5 touchdowns is plus 152 on its own. I would rather play that line on its own than take 5 teams on the money line.
For sure.
Just because of the risk associated, right? Like when all you need is one team to just slip up and have a bad day or come up against a team that actually all of a sudden performs. Who that's going to be, you don't know, but that's just, all it takes is one of these running backs to have a 150-yard game. Yeah. Devin Singletary kind of game.
Or them to have like an early interception or something like that and punch them in the mouth like Denver.
Pick 6 or something. Yeah. And we've seen it many times.
Yeah, time and time again, man. There's always a couple.
So, so Dallas, again, just this offense. I don't really care who they're playing against, to be perfectly honest, right now. The way that Dak is playing, the way CeeDee Lamb is playing, the fact that, Brandon Cooks is having, back-to-back best games of his short tenure with the Cowboys. Like, I mean, am I expecting the Cowboys to go on and win the Super Bowl? No. But all the time they're hot, and they're as hot as they currently are. Am I going to take that plus 152 for them to score 4 touchdowns? Absolutely. Again, they're playing in Carolina against the Panthers. Hey, like, the Panthers gave up. How many touchdowns did the Bears score against them on Thursday?
Actually, not many. Only one. There's a lot of field goals.
Only one, but but again, like that. No offense to Tyler Badger, but
trust me,
it's a slightly different offense when you're coming up against this, especially with the defense. Again, the defense that the Dallas Cowboys have. Right. Bryce Young is struggling. I just feel like Dallas are going to be on the field. That offense is going to be on the field a lot. And, Pollard isn't doing it this season. I did pick up Rico Dowdle on the waiver wire this week. But, I just, that's again, huge value for me. So taking that one, pairing that with the Washington football team. You took them last week. I mean, they're playing the Jets, right? Like, they're playing the Giants this week. Yeah. So, I mean, and again, to try and find some value there, I took their team total over 23.5. Because again, I think they put up half a dozen, like 3 touchdowns. Yeah. And I think when I looked at it, the line for 23.5 is basically even money. It's like minus 102. And the 3 touchdown line is, the 3 touchdown lines come in. It's now minus 110. But, for the extra 3 points, which again, against this Giants team, which no offense to Tommy DeVito, but like
bad.
Saquon is not putting up the numbers that you need him to in a situation like this where they're relying, the team is solely on his shoulders. Like, they need him to rush for 125 yards a game to be in the game, to even extend drives. Like, I watched that Dallas Cowboys game and they didn't get out of their own their own 20-yard line for the first quarter. And it's just, he's a rookie QB who was third, like whatever. But I just think the way that Sam Howell is
balling,
passing yards leader right now, right?
Balling.
So I feel like, and those two together is basically plus 400 for those two.
Yeah, love that.
And then I just and I will play those separately because I then did exactly what I then threw in the Miami Dolphins minus 12.5 against, playing in Miami against the Las Vegas Raiders, just to make it plus 800, just to give me 3. I just don't see, again, same thing, right? This Raiders team is Dolphins are going to be on the field.
Yeah.
Their offense is going to be on the field a huge amount. Like, one winning by 13, minus 12.5, 13. I was always going to take it when I see that line always jumps out to me.
Of course.
But yeah.
Unless Max Crosby can literally drag them, like he has to have, it would have to be even if he had a good game, I would expect them not to be able to hang with Miami, especially with how Vic Fangio has that defense playing in Miami. I love that. And I know obviously 12.5 is always kind of crazy. Like you always have that, that feeling in your stomach of not wanting to take it. But if anybody's offense is going to be able to just hang points fast, it's going to be them. I like that, especially at plus 833. That's insane. Mine are probably going to, people are probably going to look at me a little crazy for these. But I'm fully expecting Justin Fields to be back for Chicago. He always plays Detroit very well. Obviously, this Detroit team this year is a little bit different, but that defense has been able to give up a lot of points. The offense has been very good on the run. Obviously, Amon-Ra St. Brown is balling, but I think that game's going to be able to be a lot higher scoring, especially if it's very fast paced the way I expect. I hope that the run game doesn't completely kill this. That is my one fear of them running, Detroit being able to run the ball down their throats a little bit too fast and too often. But Chicago's run defense has been very solid ever since Flus took over, calling the defense. I like 48.5 is that line. I think it was actually at 48 on the head when I looked at it earlier. I at least get the push for the 24, the 28-20. But I expect Detroit to score 30 plus. And I think Justin Fields comes out and definitely scores over 20. So I really like that line. And then we got Arizona, Houston. Obviously, Kyler puts up 23 points or 25 points. I think it was 25. It was 20 plus. I know that for sure. And then Houston's obviously hanging points. CJ Stroud's playing out of his mind. He went from, just being another rookie quarterback looking for the rookie of the year and whatnot. Now people are putting him in MVP talks, and rightfully so. The kid is balling. I think that game is going to be one of those games where we could really see a lot of points. Both of those defenses are horrible. And that's honestly, that's me being nice. Those defenses have not been good whatsoever all year. So with those two quarterbacks playing, and then the way Tank Dell's playing, Nico Collins, I just think the way that Houston's playing, it's gonna definitely force Arizona to have to, get some garbage time yards or try to keep up with them. That one's at 48.5. So we have 48. We got 48.5 for those two games. And then the Chargers are -3 for the spread. I jumped all over that. I think the one thing that LA can do is score points. It's really whether or not they can finish the game. But I think this week is going to be one of those where, they have a very good chance. So that -3, and then those three legs are plus 567 for the treble. And then, if we're going to go for the lotto again, why not do all 6?
Plus 61.25. I mean, I like the way that we both went 3 out of 4 last week. So this week we've both gone, okay, we're just going to take 3.
Yeah.
But with the lines that we've taken, like you're not taking any watered down overs or anything like that. So each of these lines
-110.
or above. You can, if you want to go that route, like do the round robin by 5. And if we do go 5 of 6, then at least you're going to cash something.
Yeah, it'd be like a plus 3,800 or something like that. You'll cash.
Yeah. It's not going to be all of it, but I mean, you can.
It's a chunk. Yeah, it'd be a good chunk for that minus. You throw.
Yeah, you're going to make 20 times your money, and you're laying out. If you do the So the way this gets us into the round robin conversation again, which if you have questions about how the round robin works, let me know. I will happily do a segment on next week's show about it. Let's hope. So I'm going to play it now just for this reason and hope that it hits. Obviously, hope it goes 6 out of 6. It will go 6 out of 6, but we can show then the round robin and the way that works. But yeah, if you play it by fives, you're putting 6 wagers down on all of the 5-leg combinations. Plus, you should play the 6 as the lot. So you're playing 7 wagers, and if one of them hits, I think the lowest is going to be plus 2,200. So you're getting 22 times your money back. You laid out 7. You basically won a plus 1,500.
Yeah, hell yeah.
And if all 6 hit, then you cash all of it all the way through. Like you just we're loving it. But yeah, that way, if you do fall one leg short, and we do have like a push, or one of the teams scores 20 points, and it's you're falling short, you don't get that. So that, I think with this one, I think that's a good one to do it on, because it's not too many. You're not asking for too much. Like when you've got 8, like last week when we had 7 or 8, with 8 selections, trying to do a round robin by 7 or by 6, to hit the by 6 would have been it becomes.
You got to put so much money on it that it's, people shy away from it as well. I don't think, a lot of people don't understand that they're betting, multiple wagers only because of the combinations. But yeah, this is definitely a good one to use as an example when it cashes.
Yeah. So yeah, we will do that. Well, thanks very much, my guy.
Yes,
Pleasure
sir.
as always. We will see you guys in the comment section, on Twitter, on TikTok, on Instagram. Join us in the Discord. Hopefully we see some of you in there asking your questions. Like I say, at PW_house money. Thank you for watching and listening again. If you're tailing us, good luck. If you're fading us, good luck. Godspeed to you. Either way, we'll catch you next week, and we'll be playing with more house money.
Yes, sir.